So, you just finished leveling up in Overwatch or in some game that has you need a requirement to enter competitive mode. But as soon as you enter competitive mode, you're all of a sudden losing and you don't know why. Well, let me just tell you, this is a topic that we'll be talking about that most of the videos that I've watched, especially when it comes to mistakes and some of the biggest mistakes that low ELO players can make, don't talk about. And for those of you who are wanting a hint, it has something to do with the respawn timer. And yes, I'm talking about the respawn timer. So what is this topic that we will be talking about today? Well, let's take a look at it, shall we? What is the one thought that comes to mind when you are starting to lose? One of the main problems may be the fact that your team is just not being very good. Maybe your team's not being very supportive. Maybe your team is the absolute worst. I mean, these are the immediate thoughts that come to mind when you're a low ELO player. Or you're just thinking, oh, well, they're randoms. My team is always going to be terrible. But what if I had told you that it has something to do with your actions in general, especially when building your game sense, which of course many low ELO players may not take a look at. What is this one thing that we are talking about? Well, it has something to do with this, and it may be something that it has your actions in mind. So what are these actions that I'm thinking about? Well, I mean, that's exactly why I'm talking about this video, and this is a video on the biggest mistakes that every low ELO player makes, including me. I make this mistake all the time. Every low ELO player or low ranking player in any competitive game will make this mistake, and it's either by natural choice or natural because I'm not paying attention or something, or it's just due to the fact that, I'm, not realizing it. Either way, every low ELO player makes this mistake, including me, and I'm going to be here to tell you the biggest mistake that every low ELO player makes, including me. So what is that mistake? Well, let's get this video started, and I'll explain exactly what that mistake is. So with that being said, hello everybody, FAI here, or I here, and welcome to another Accureye Talks video, and this is the biggest mistake every low ELO player makes, including me. I'm not immune to this mistake, and neither is anybody else in low ELO. In fact, most low ELO players will not even think about this, especially when you're in ranked mode. But this is a user error that almost everybody makes because, let's face it, in today's world, especially in the world of FPS games, everyone is focusing on the biggest stat that they can think of. The biggest stat they think is currently important, which is K/D. But at the end of the day, K/D is not what's the most important stat in the world. K/D is not important at all. In fact, you should be thinking about this biggest mistake that every low ELO player makes. Now, this is a mistake that I only recently started to think about and come up with because of the fact that, I've been doing coaching sessions with Overwatch coaches that are high ELO players, aka pro players, and I've also been doing coaching with pros on Fortnite. And each one of these seem to have a common area that I should be paying attention to. It's not so much that I should be focusing on my accuracy. It's not so much that I should be focusing on something like my, K/D. The biggest mistake that every low ELO player makes, including me, is the fact that we are focusing on trying to make an impact by getting K/D. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't even focus on K/D. K/D will come in time. It'll come over time, and it'll be something that just over time, as you progress, as you learn more of the game, and as you get higher and higher rank, you'll learn that it just comes over time. It's a team effort. Sometimes you will get the most K/D, other times you won't get any K/D at all. Either way, the biggest thing and the biggest mistake that every low ELO player makes is getting picked off, is getting eliminated. Now, why is getting eliminated or getting picked off so important? Why shouldn't I get picked off? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about. We're talking about the respawn timer, of course. This is the biggest mistake that most players don't even think about when it comes to making impact on, games like Overwatch. Now, games like Fortnite, of course, you only have one chance. You only have one life, and you only have one time to maybe not get eliminated. Now, of course, if you're lucky, maybe your team can revive you if you're playing on squads. But 9 out of 10 times, if you're like me and you're just playing solos or you're wasting most of your time on solos, then getting eliminated is one of the most devastating moves you could have on you. It's one of the biggest mistakes that can happen here. And this is a perfect example of me getting eliminated and why you don't want to get eliminated. Now, you saw me back off there because, let's face it, now some of you may look at it as, oh, you're being a coward. Why are you being a coward running away from a fight? And the biggest thing is, you don't want to, be picked off. You'll see here how each one of my teammates are getting picked off while I'm trying to make an impact by, playing out my strengths, trying to, find good picks to eliminate them and thin out the team. Because, again, when I can thin out the team, everyone becomes a little bit more relaxed. Everything becomes a little easier. Now, to some degree, some players may look at this as being a coward and you're just running away. But in the end, this is the tactical retreat that you got to think about. And it's something that you got to be aware of. Now, most players, especially low ELO players, are never going to understand this. They're never going to realize that, oh, I should make myself an impact player, and I should try to not rush in to the point where I'm going to get picked off. Now, you'll see here, this is like where low ELO players make their biggest mistakes. Now, some of them will group up and will try to be, grouping on team attacks, which is fine. But again, if you're just getting picked off and and of course your enemies are starting to make a a pick off left and right, then obviously you've got to make some changes to your playstyle. Now you'll see here, this is a perfect example of why the respawn timer is so important and not getting picked off is so important. And this is the biggest mistake every low ranking or low ELO player makes, is not making an impact. Now you're probably thinking, but the respawn timer is not that long. Why should I worry about it? Well, the respawn timer is for, say, like 10 seconds, right? So, because the respawn timer is 10 seconds, that's 10 seconds you're out of the battle. 10 seconds you're not making an impact, nor are you making a change or difference in the battle. And because you're not making a difference in the battle, you're obviously going to be slowing down the team progress. And, as you'll see here, I only had one time where they picked me off. Every other time I was playing basically confidently to the point where, I was just trying to back off and make an impact on the side that I was on, And as you can see, I got bronze medals because of my impact that I was able to make. Now, if every other teammate was able to make that same impact, I think we would have maybe won that battle. And this is a perfect example in the second battle of me trying to make another bit of impact and trying to make a difference for the team as DPS. Now, that's something that every low ELO player makes, including me. I'm not immune to it, and nor is anyone else. This is something that even, when it comes to, you watch videos that say, oh, every mistake every rank makes, every player in rank makes. Now, the one thing that pros never mention, and this is a mistake that every pro will make, because for one reason or another, or maybe it's not every pro's fault, and it's not everyone's fault when it comes to, talking these videos about every mistake every player in ranked makes, in a certain rank makes. Because maybe it's just something that, is common sense. Maybe it's something that shouldn't be on plain paper. But, I'm here to make this on plain paper because I want you to know. Make an impact. Don't try to get picked off. Try not to get yourself to the point where you're always getting picked off left and right. Because, again, when you're getting picked off left and right, it means that you're not making an impact for your team. And because you're not making an impact for your team, you are in turn slowing down the team's progress to make, good progress on the point, good progress on pickoffs, maybe thinning out the team, making them have to wait on their respawn to regroup. It's something that every low ELO player makes, including me. is they're not making an impact on their plays. They're not trying to back off and run for a retreat. I mean, I know it's important to get into the point and to try and take out take the point so that you can control for victory. But again, if you're getting into team fights like this fight here, where everyone's getting picked off left and right, then you've got to start thinking, how am I going to make an impact? Now, this is a perfect example, again, of where I make a mistake, try and back off. And, in my case, this was a mistake I made because I didn't realize where the edge was. And they just pushed me off towards the edge. But, you could see how, when I'm not in the respawn chamber, when I'm in the respawn animation, in the respawn timer, I'm not making an impact for my team. That's like 5, maybe even 6 seconds wasted not making an impact. And because I'm not making an impact, I'm obviously not doing anything good for my team. And, this is, like I said, why it's the biggest mistake for your team. You don't want to have it where your team is, getting picked off left and right. Now, it's okay that maybe sometimes you're not getting, you get picked off, but hopefully you can lower the amount of pickoffs you get. Like, for instance, my goal, whenever I'm playing FPS games, especially ones that give me a respawn, I'm always trying to make my goal, I'm only going to get picked off 5 times at most. If I have to, I'm going to get picked off 10 times at most. But the only reason I want to try to lower my number from 5 to 10 is because I don't want to be picked off too many times. The more times I'm picked off, it means the more chances the enemy team have to pick off every single other player because I can't make an impact. And that, in fact, that influctuates your impact as a player. That is what creates the impact that you have as a player. Now, sometimes, that impact may not be so, so negative that your team can't pick up the slack. But for the most part, a lot of times, when you keep falling left and right, left and right, left and right, up, down, and you're just kind of going, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We still can win. We can still possibly win because I keep falling enough times. No, you should make it a goal in your own personal point. Now, I'm not a, pro player right now. I'm not a top 500 player right now. But this is from my learning experience, and this is from my journey, that you should make it a point to say, no, if I have a respawn, I'm going to only get eliminated maybe 5 times at most, or 10 times at most. This is my impact. Now, this is my way of making sure that I stay alive. I'm still surviving. I'm doing the best I can to carry my team. Now, your goal may be a little less than mine, or maybe it'll be a little more than mine. I mean, my maximum goal for me in any game, whenever I have a respawn, is to only get eliminated 5 to 7 times now. That's my goal. And because I want to only get an elimination 5 to 7 times at most, now I'm going to make it my best idea to kind of go, if I get into a fight, or if I get into a point where I'm not making any impact, I'm just kind of running in there like an idiot, looking like an idiot, then I'm going to have to back off and kind of reevaluate how I should play. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay to reevaluate what you're doing, reevaluate how you should play and what you should be doing. I mean, don't worry too much about like, oh, well, you're continuing to tell me that I should only make 5 to 10 mistakes at most. Or in my case, 5 to 7 mistakes at most. And that's my ideal goal. Heck, my ideal goal, if I was good and if I was just like to put myself into a pro player's shoes or, like a grandmaster's shoes, I would only want to get eliminated 3 to 5 times at most. If I can help it. Now that's if I can help it. Because at that point, I'm making a big enough impact that, my team will at least be carried to some degree by me. Now, does that mean it will always happen? No. But if I make it to where I'm only getting eliminated 3 to 5 times, that means there's a little bit of leniency and there's a little bit of a, room for error if my team makes a huge error or if my team keeps getting picked off. Because my impact, or should I say my impact, my mistakes are minimal at best at that point, and my team can kind of still carry on and still regroup and still resurge their effort if they need to. And, that's the point. That's the idea behind, winning the game, or just in general being able to make a positive impact and make your team kind of see, oh, we got a chance to win. So, if you can, that's the biggest mistake every low ELO player makes, including me. Now, am I immune to it? Absolutely not. Are pros immune to it? Absolutely not. But they make a conscious effort to try and, ensure that impact they have is very, very maximized. It's, to the point where they're not going to be making noobish mistakes like, for instance, being eliminated left and right. I mean, yes, sometimes they get picked off. And I'm not saying that pros don't get picked off. Pros do get picked off. Look at someone like the real Kenzo. The real Kenzo, yes, he does have times where he gets picked off. But again, he tries to, make a forceful impact where he himself doesn't get eliminated very often. And he himself is at a point where, it will minimalistically annoy or, minimalistically impact the team to where they are losing. I mean, think of this as a MOBA. Now, I know many people hate MOBAs. Many people are like, well, why would you think of this as like a MOBA? But, I mean, the truth is, you gotta think of this as kind of like a MOBA, where, your impact is going to make a difference on the game. You are making a difference, and every time you, for instance, get eliminated, you're putting the advantage number in the placement of your enemy. Your enemy is now gaining the advantage because guess what? When you get eliminated, it becomes a 1v5. When another person gets eliminated, it becomes a 1v4. When another person gets eliminated, it becomes a 1v2. Then it becomes a 1v2, and then it becomes a 1v4, or a 5v1. So, it's basically the eliminations matter. And the less time you spend on respawns, the less time you spend, getting eliminated and running in to try and make an impact on the objective or whatever, the more chance you have to realistically make it to where everyone will win. And that's the biggest mistake every low ELO player makes, including me. I'm not immune to this. This is not me saying I'm immune to this. I'm not immune to this. Everyone is not immune to this. In fact, I would say for the most part, almost everyone makes this mistake because they're not thinking about their survival. They're not thinking, oh, I've got to make an impact for my team. I've got to be a positive influence for my other teammates. And why am I going to be a positive influence for my other teammates? It's because I'm not getting eliminated. I'm not getting picked off one by one by one. And you'll see this, especially on this game. You'll see a little bit of this game, and you'll see how I'm making a positive impact to not be eliminated because I want to survive. I'm going to survive. And because I'm going to survive, I'm going to end up, having it to where more and more players are going to look to me and go, oh, okay, we're just going to follow the example. Because again, when you're not following or getting eliminated, more people follow your example and kind of go, oh, okay, we've got to pick up our slack. And you're basically in hard carrying your team. And this is something that every player needs to realistically look towards and realistically try and make an impact on. So, focus on that. How can you focus on working on this big mistake that every low ELO player makes, especially when it comes to first starting out? Well, work on it in quick play. Make it to where if you're starting to get hit, you're starting to see your energy drain to the point where it's like you're not in good position, then focus on backing off, maybe making it to where your team kind of regroups or sees you regroup and sees you trying to back off instead of trying to see you, going forward, try and push with, making an impact to move the objective. And that's something that you've just got to work on, Not everyone is going to be perfect at it at first, and it's not even me. I'm not even perfect at it at first. But that's one thing that I try and make an impact on, is to be, at a point where nobody really can pick me off easily. And the reason they can't pick me off easily is because I'm trying my best not to be picked off myself. I'm basically backing off. I'm basically, taking my time to make my mark here. And because I'm making my mark here, and taking my time on making my mark here, as you'll see, it creates a positive impact because everyone else on the enemy team is right now on respawn. Everyone else is right now on respawn, so it's easier to pick off the team and to pick off one by one everyone going forward. Because, again, while everyone's on respawn, guess which team is basically in the advantage right now? We are. And you see that as I'm going forward right now with the gameplay. You see how, by not getting picked off and by not being eliminated, you're basically trying to make a positive impact on your team, and you're basically trying to create it to where, the enemy is no longer really focusing on, for instance, trying to get eliminated. Well, they're focusing more on eliminations, but they're not focusing on trying to stay alive. They're just focusing on their tunnel vision on trying to make this team has to get eliminated. We're getting picked off. We got to make a regroup effort, or we got to try to, force this enemy team to be, making mistakes. But we're not making those mistakes because of the fact that we've been putting them on the respawn timer. And every time we put them one by one on the respawn timer, we end up making them having to wait a long time for their team to regroup. And, it gives us more time to push forward. So, again, that's the biggest mistake every low ELO player makes, including me. And hopefully this video has helped you realize that this is a big mistake that every low ELO player makes. I'm not sure why many guide videos don't tell you this, but I figured it's time to put it on paper and it's time to place it on the board because it's something that, including me, every low ELO player will make. But with that being said, hopefully this video has helped you. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you will start putting this into your own playstyle as you progress through the game. And, I almost will assure you, if you put this into your playstyle, if you put this into your gameplay, you will see an improvement. But with that being said, I'm live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYEORI. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. Wednesday and Saturday, I'm usually live for about 4 to 5 hours. And Thursdays, I'm usually live for about 2 to 3 hours. Monday and Tuesday, I'm also live for about 2 to 3 hours. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video has helped you, and hopefully you will be starting to see yourself climb ranks if you input this one mistake and start being more aware of this one mistake. But with this being said, thank you everybody. With that being said, should I say, thank you everybody for watching this video. Thank you for joining me on this video, and thank you for watching. And leave a like if you like this video. Thank you everybody for joining me, and until the next one, everybody. This is FAI or I signing out and saying thank you everybody for joining me. And until the next one, everybody. Again, I'm live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYE or I. But yeah, until the next one, everybody. This is FAI or I signing out and saying farewell, everyone.